Okay. Number one, Deion is soft.
Okay.
I don't understand
Elaborate.
why. I just wanted that to just land a little bit because, that's like a good cut place. But what are we doing with the banning reporters from asking questions if they've been critical of you? Like, part of the job of being a college football coach is accepting and living with criticism when things aren't going well. Now, that doesn't mean that things aren't going well at Colorado. I think that from 1,000-foot view, there is no question that Colorado is in a better place than it was before Deion Sanders took over. Okay. The fact that we are talking about them as much as we do is a testament to what Deion provides Colorado and any program just by being Deion Sanders. But I had a certain vision of what Deion was supposed to be or was going to be when he got to Colorado, and he has not lived up to that vision to me in my mind. And that doesn't make me a hater. I don't hate Deion Sanders. I think he's one of the greatest football players of all time, and certainly one of the most funny, charismatic personalities that we get the pleasure of consuming on a day-to-day basis. And it's a gift. We get to talk about him. But my number one thing with him is your number one qualification for being Colorado's coach is your stardom. You weren't some sort of Bill Walsh figure to be a Power 5 head coach as quickly as you are. The reason why is because of the attention that you bring, right? If that attention brings some negative attention, that's still attention, right? All PR is good PR. So why is a person who is famous as Deion, probably the most famous coach that we've had from in college football for accomplishments and personality and visibility outside of the sport, like banning CBS Sports from asking a question? Why is the person from the Denver Post not allowed to ask questions? Like, it's not what I would expect from somebody who has competed at the highest level in every single walk of life. I just do not understand it.
All right, I'm going to tell you why you're wrong in this particular case. Not the CBS one, because the CBS one was soft. It's the Sean Keeler one. Mm-hmm. So Sean Keeler is the columnist for the Denver Post. He's the one that Deion won't take questions from. And Deion's now taking questions from CBS. Again, that was soft. He didn't like where he was ranked in their poll of Big 12 coaches. But the Sean Keeler one, and I think Sean would agree with me on this. And it's interesting. I'm saying this as someone who I've been a sports writer for almost 25 years now. I've been in a lot of press conferences. I have asked some antagonistic questions. I have had relationships with the coaches that have gone badly because of questions I've asked them because of things I've written. But here's the thing with Keeler. And I think Keeler understands this, because if you heard the exchange in that one press conference where Deion's like, I'm not taking anything from you. Why are you the way you are? Basically, he's asking who hurt you. Keeler has come after him from day one. He's called him a fraud over and over again. It's gotten personal. It's different when it's, I don't think that you are doing the roster construction the right way, because I think you should recruit more out of high school. I think you should visit high schools, that sort of thing. It's almost like coaching, actually. It's very similar to when you're coaching a player. Like, if you have a player, like an offensive lineman, who keeps messing up the same play, if you're screaming at him about how he's messing up the play, why he's not taking the right first step, why his hand placement's wrong, you can get mad and you can yell and you can cuss, and that's fine. But if you call him a moron or useless or something like that, that crosses the line. And so if you're going to call a guy a fraud over and over again in print, you should expect some pushback. You should expect him to not treat you fairly, because you're not treating him fairly.
Yeah.
So if you make it personal, do not be shocked if the other person makes it personal too.
Yeah. And listen, if it was just one person or one instance of this happening, this probably wouldn't have been a thought process. And frankly speaking, I haven't read a ton of Keeler's work, and if you're just being mean or rude or personal for no reason, then there's other issues there that go beyond whether or not Deion should take questions from you.
And I'm not just bashing Sean here, because Sean's written some good stuff. Like, there's a column from Sean that compares Deion's tenure at Colorado so far to Ed McCaffrey's tenure as the head coach at Northern Colorado, which I don't think most people know how that went. And I didn't know the depths of it until I read what he wrote. And then I went back and read more about Ed McCaffrey's time at Northern Colorado. And the parallels were kind of shocking, really. And so, like, that was good. But then, you know, calling him the minister of BS and stuff like that, that's where it goes over the line. And you should expect some pushback.
Yeah. But it's not, and it wasn't an isolated incident. So in this scenario, not from Sean, but I mean, in terms of like not taking questions from reporters and stuff, I think that the number one defense for Deion of anything, including the things that I say that I'm assuming people will clip and call me a hater and all this stuff, is
you're
to go out and perform the job in the best possible way. And the thing that I think I will say about my stance with Deion Sanders, Andy, is that I think that the potential for him to be a legitimate Power 5 coach at a big time place, because we just got done talking about funny people making jokes about him taking over Florida State in a few years. Like, I really do think that Deion Sanders, if doing the job the full way, which is high school hallways, recruiting calls, all in on high school football recruiting, could be a transcendent coach in this business. I think that what he did at Colorado is remarkable, especially considering the fact that a lot of the people that have come to play for him and a lot of the eyeballs that have been on Colorado are based solely on who he is and his aura. But he does not weaponize his stardom where he needs to be weaponizing it the most, which is not on late night talk shows. It's in high school hallways. He should be showing up like the biggest star in the world to these places and using every bit of his free time to accumulate as much high school talent as possible. So the Sean Keeler thing is a very deep discussion about like conduct and how to be professional in this business and all those things on both sides.
I actually want to see the conversation that Deion was suggesting in that press conference between those two. Like, yeah, I want an hour of them sitting down, both of them explaining why they are the way they are, and I would watch the hell out of that.
Yeah, because like if you actually go back and look at my coverage of Deion Sanders, especially like right at the beginning, like I was all in on this guy. Like I thought that he was going to get a bunch of transfers in year one, make them a much more functional football program the way that he did, and that he was going to use that as a jumping off point to create a recruiting swell in the high school ranks that made high school football players like Travis Hunter and the other 5 stars that he's gotten want to play for him. Like I thought that the chances of Colorado signing top 20 classes were off the charts. Like I think that building a program with long-term sustainability through high school football recruiting is certainly a viable option for Deion. But what we've seen here is trying to build a roster that can win, 8 games as quickly as possible, but the foundation of the program with the high school recruiting is just not there, which makes me feel like he isn't going to be there very long, and then makes me wonder what the actual motivation of being a coach is in the first place. And maybe that sounds harsh, and it's not a personal thing with him. It's more of a disappointment that he hasn't attacked the job full steam ahead the way that I thought he was. And if he was as passionate and is passionate about being Colorado's coach as he was being one of the best football players to ever walk the face of the earth, then things would be really, really, really good. Really good. Like, not just like, oh, they're really fun to watch and their lines stink and they might win 5 games this year. I mean, like, really, really good. Like, good enough for him not to worry about the Sean Keelers and the Ari Wassermans of the world. Good enough where he could be the head coach at Florida or Florida State. Like, all this, like, talking points. Like, regardless of the intricacies of what you think of the Sean Keeler situation or even the CBS situation or any other situation where he doesn't want to talk to somebody. It's the overarching thing of like who Deion could have been and who he is.
Yeah, you're mad because he could be a nuclear powered recruiter.
He could, yeah.
And he chooses
I thought that's
not
what he
to
was
be.
hired to be. And
I saw somebody in the chat saying there's a reason Deion doesn't do in-home visits, and it's not a good reason.
It's not a good reason.
He would be really good at it.
Andy, I hear this stuff like, why don't you go to high school football games on Friday? Well, I've got, team stuff going on with my current team, and coaches don't treat me the same way.
If Kirby Smart can do it, you can do it.
It's like Kirby Smart has a team to worry about.
Yeah.
Nick Saban had a team to worry about. All the teams that you're trying to recruit. It's like, I don't even know that Colorado is in high leverage battles, maybe 1 or 2 a cycle. But like, I thought that Colorado would be in like Final Fives with Alabama, Ohio State, and other teams like 30 times a year. And if they got 3 or 4 of them, then you're talking about a top 20 recruiting class at a place that's in a very winnable conference. Like, Deion Sanders could build Colorado into a power in their own conference if he had any interest in being there for 10 years and building this thoroughly. And I use this on a previous podcast, Andy. I feel like it's like the show Flip or Flop, right? Like you buy a house and you decide that either you want to renovate it and stay in it. I guess it's love it or list it. Sorry.
That's love it or list it. You're mixing your HGTV metaphors.
Flip or Flop is, whatever. Love it or list it.
Flip or Flop is Tark and Christina. Come on.
And you renovate it and you decide after the fact whether or not you thought the renovations went well enough where you want to live in the house or sell it, depending on how things go. Like, I think Deion Sanders has done a wonderful job of renovating the Colorado home. Colorado was a condemned building when he took over, and now it's a wonderful single-family home with beautiful floors and kitchen. But I do wonder, and I don't know if this is an unfair thing to wonder, Andy.
Let's continue the love it or list it, because if you've watched Love It or List It, like the plot of every Love It or List It is you have your wish list of things you want done. So I want an open concept floor plan. I want a new modern kitchen. I want a new living room. I want to renovate the master bedroom, ensuite, and the walk-in closet. And it's always like, well, they come back 10 minutes later. We can do the kitchen and the living room. We can do the bathroom, but that walk-in closet, we just can't because we found a roof leak. We gotta fix that.
Well, here's the thing that I'm saying is you can make something look prettier, but I don't know. And you tell me this, Andy. Is it fair to question the foundation that the house is sitting on?
Yes, it's plenty fair. It's plenty fair. Now,
I Cam in the chat says, the house.
Cam in the chat says, Ari's the reason why Colorado may ruin people's lives and once they start winning are going to run off the grid, get away from CU nuclear exploding. That's what's going to happen in the media. Cam, you're being a little hysterical there. Like, you know what's going to happen if Colorado beats Nebraska on Saturday?
I'm going to write a column praising him. We're going to talk about it. Yeah. Like here's the thing too. Like, being in this business is not always about being 100% correct either, right, Andy? Like, I think people think that if you have an opinion with the information that you have on hand, that if anything changes or somebody exceeds those expectations, that you're an idiot. And it's like, you can go back 3 years and find clips of me saying that there's nothing that Michigan is doing in the recruiting realm to ever think that that team could go win a national championship. And look, here we are 2 or 3 years later, and we saw one of the greatest runs that we've ever seen from a program like that. Was I wrong? Absolutely. But at the time, with the information that I had and the analysis that has been fairly accurate over the course of the past 25 years, they did not recruit at a high enough level to win a national title. The game changed. They did really remarkable things in the portal, and they were able to overcome the fact that they didn't sign top 5 classes. But that doesn't mean that the analysis at the beginning was off. That means that they did something remarkable. So if Colorado goes out and wins 11 games this year and kicks everyone's ass and signs a top 10 recruiting class, that that would be wonderful. Like, I'm not afraid of Colorado being successful. In fact, I think that it would be great if Colorado were successful. There's a vast interest in Deion Sanders. Talking about him draws a ton of attention. And it's not like if you are critical of the man, that it is some sort of hate. It's not coming from a hateful place. We're talking about somebody who makes millions upon millions of dollars a year to run a program.
No, Ari, it's because you hate him. Now, you like Ryan Day. You just say mean things about him, but you hate Deion.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the most scathing column I've ever written about a coach, Andy, was about Ryan Day last year after the Michigan game. And it's not because I dislike Ryan Day. It's because he didn't live up to what he's being paid to do. And
you like Billy Napier, but you hate
Billy
Deion.
Napier. Yeah. So that's the number one thing that drives me nuts in this business is I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding from the fans what our actual angle and job is. Like, me and Andy are here right now trying to just be honest, open, and truthful with the people listening to the show of our analysis based on the understanding of how the sport works. Does that mean that we're going to be 100% correct all the time? Absolutely not. But what we can do is
hold on. Cam's slightly less hysterical, but still a little hysterical. Imagine this. What would college football look like if Colorado goes 10-2? What is going to happen? Just think about that for a second, even if it doesn't happen. If Colorado goes 10-2, Cam, they'll be 10-2. They might make the Big 12 championship game, and we'll talk about Colorado winning 10 games and losing 10 games.
And this kind of brings me back to the original point.
Cam thinks like the world's going to explode. Like, you guys were so wrong. What are you going to do about this? It's my favorite. It's like when we rank teams and they're like, well, what are you going to do if NC State beats Tennessee this weekend? Well, I'm going to rank NC State higher and Tennessee lower. That's what I'm going to do.
And also, too, Cam, just to make you feel better, if Colorado goes 10-2 and lives up to the hype that Deion Sanders brought, then you'll probably find that the tenor of the press conferences is going to change. You'll probably find that people love him a lot more. You'll probably find that our analysis of what he's doing is different. You want to know why? Because it's a results-oriented business, and when those results match up with the expectations, it's impossible to be negative. It's impossible. So I don't know what Colorado's going to do. I find them wildly entertaining to watch. I cannot wait to watch them play Nebraska on Saturday night. And frankly speaking, let me look into the camera and be real with you. I like Deion Sanders. I grew up rooting for him. Like, he is a godlike figure for anybody who grew up during the era in which he was dominating the NFL. I think that he is hilarious. I like the way that he frames things. I think his swag is cool. I think that everything about Colorado's like uniform overhaul is amazing. I think that it's innovative to bring cameras in to the facility to let people who root for your team see everything that there is to see. The sunglass look is awesome. I've never seen a better white beard in my entire life. Like, there's a lot to like about Deion Sanders, but when it comes to certain behavioral patterns or certain ways that he approaches his job, it's my job as an analyst talking to the people who listen to the show to be truthful about how I feel about it. So not everything is hate and love. It's analysis, it's thought process, it's an actual opinion based in fact and how I understand this game works. And if you think that Deion Sanders has all these fans and all these Colorado people in the chat right now being upset, could you imagine what would happen? It's not, don't imagine what if he goes 10-2. Imagine if he signed top 5 recruiting classes. Try to freaking think of that. Could you imagine if that happened? I'd be bending down at the ground and kissing the man's feet if he turned Colorado into an actual college football program that could compete for national championships and did it at Colorado. If he did it at Colorado and actually like came through with what people are expecting from him, he might actually be one of the greatest coaches of all time in terms of everything that he's done. So my thought process isn't hatred. It's trying to imagine that Colorado would achieve what I thought was possible the day that they introduced him as the head coach. And I think that's love.
Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples on 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.